Developed by one single guy, City Brawl is a game that I've been waiting to play for a long time. The game has been developed since I started this channel 3 years ago, and I cover it here a lot during this time. Finally, after all this waiting, the game is here, and I have to tell you, this game is something else. Hello and welcome my friends to The Flying Kick, I am Savino, and today we will take a look at City Brawl, a game that truly feels like an arcade game, but at home. Saying City Brawl feels like an arcade game is not an exaggeration. The story here is basically what you would find at any arcade game back in the 90s, a wall of text, a brief close-up of the main character, and then its title screen and insert coin. There is not even much to talk about it here. It's just your basic beaten-up tale where a city with a dubious name is going under a war between gangs of bad guys who want to take control of the underground. And of course it's up to 4 people to stop hundreds of gang members by beating them senseless. Aside from the intro, the only cutscene you get here is the ending, which is also pretty brief. As I said, this is an arcade beaten-up through and through, and as such, the story takes the back seat. When it comes to the graphics, City Brawl has both good and bad parts to it. To begin with the good, the characters look awesome and they are huge. Some enemies like this fat dude with a maul take a quarter of the screen alone, and they all have a gritty and dirty look to them that I like very much. The animations, well, most of them looks pretty good with some nice and smooth attacks for your characters. The only thing I don't like much here is the lack of frames when bouncing your enemies around. I mean, they have only one frame of animation and end up giving that beach ball sensation that is never great. I believe one more frame here would make a lot of difference. Your main character design is also pretty cool. You have more common ones like Rico with his kickboxer outfit and Natasha, who is sporting a simple top and long pants. But you also have Sergeant Clay, who is a badass cop who has some nice details, and finally Iron Jackson, a giant freak who carries a huge chain around his neck because he can. I love his design and how menacing he looks dragging his chain around. The bosses are also pretty awesome and some of them are pretty memorable, especially the first one who can leave a heck of an impression. The backgrounds, well, they are complicated. While I think most of them look pretty good with a lot of detail and variety, others not so much. The first level is beautiful, there are enough details here to feast your eyes while beating hordes and hordes of enemies. I really like these chains on the background bouncing around every time you knock an enemy. The second level is amazing, with a snow effect that I have never seen before in pixel art, and I must say looks fantastic. Seriously, take a look at this. It looks so good. You have a subway level because every self-respecting beaten-up should have one, and it looks pretty nice with time of the day changes and varied backgrounds, but after that, I don't know, things don't look that good. This level after the subway with all the trains parked looks great, but I'm not fond of this water on the floor. And while I like this grass here on this level, the rest looks pretty messy and hard to define, not to mention excessively brown. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here, but I really don't like how these last levels look. The last one is straight up bad in my opinion. I mean, I know the background should be hard to define due to the pouring rain, and while the reflections looks good, the lack of reflection for the characters and other props made everything a bit floaty. I mean, in the end of the day, these are just minor complaints because in the heat of the battle, you don't really care for backgrounds, and this game doesn't give you too much time to stop and admire the scenery. It could have been better, but I will take good combat over good backgrounds every time. Now, if there's one thing here that is amazing is the OST. The composer, Daniel Lindholm, previously worked for Capcom, contributing for games like Resident Evil and Street Fighter, which already speaks volume about his work. The soundtrack here is not only great, but there's a huge variety of genres which perfectly fits the backgrounds. I really liked how here in the subway level the music sounds like a moving train, or how here in this level where some spooky enemies will appear the music takes a more mysterious flavor. But my favorite tune here is the one from the second level where it begins with a heavy metal inspired tune mixed with something akin to techno or dubstep to suddenly shift to Japanese inspired melodies. It's a very trippy tune. The sound effects here also could not have been more fitting to the game. It has that crunchiness that we had at the arcades with some pretty nice bone-breaking high-pitched sounds. Honestly, it could have used a bit more of variation since you hear the same sounds a lot, but even so, what we have here is stellar, and I recommend you to play this one with some nice speakers to enjoy every little sound, especially the sound of your guns. Yeah, guns. As you see right now, you have some weaponry in this game and it sounds and feels amazing. As I said in the beginning, Fallen City Brawl is an arcade game from start to end. You have 3 lives, 3 continues and 7 levels to beat. You can pick between 2 difficulties, regular and hard, and while this will change the number of enemies on the screen, your number of lives and continues will remain the same. If you need to interrupt your gameplay, you will be able to resume from where you left, but there's no save slots or profiles here. And honestly, for a game that will take around 30 to 40 minutes to beat, there's no need for any of that. Sure, you have some conveniences that arcade didn't have, like changing the button configuration to your liking, adjusting the volume of the music and effects, and you can adjust the screen shake and adjust the size of your damage and score, or even turning them off if you don't like numbers popping up on your screen. Honestly, the game can get pretty messy with all these features maxed out. The game also has an online scoreboard, which is always an welcoming feature. In Fallen City Brawl you have 4 characters to pick: Sergeant Clay, which is your all-rounder and carries a powerful shotgun, Natasha, the quick and weak girl who has low reach but carries a boomerang wrench to compensate for that, Rico, the kickboxer who is slower but stronger than Natasha and has the best reach in the game while carrying a semi-automatic pistol, and finally Iron Jackson, a monster of a character who is your grappler and carries incendiary bombs because why not? They all have a basic combo which you can change by pressing down on your controller to throw your enemies up, or up to throw them away and take advantage of the generous wall bounce this game offers. Your jump attack can also be changed by pressing down before attacking, and you also have a counter button, which will double as a pickup button. Each one of your characters, as I said, also carries a weapon which uses the ammo you can see near your character's health. These weapons work as a limited strong attack, and mixing them in your combos can greatly increase your strings. As I said, they use ammo, but you don't need to worry that much about it. Enemies will drop a lot of ammo as soon as yours starts depleting. I really liked how the weapons are different and useful in this game. Natasha's range can be pretty helpful controlling a crowd when you're beating a stronger enemy and need some peace. Clay's shotgun is perfect for knocking down large groups and is fast enough to be useful to attack enemies coming from behind in the middle of a combo. Rico shoots 3 times at once, dealing not only a lot of damage but also keeping enemies on the air so you can finish them. Finally, Jackson's fiery bombs are exactly what you expect. He throws a small bomb that has a lot of area damage and will throw all enemies in its radius up. It's a slower attack, but you won't need more than one to control a huge crowd and finish them. You also have 2 desperation moves in this game. One is your traditional one, where you press attack and counter to unleash a local attack that will drain a bit of your health. The other, and this one bothers me a little, happens when you press forward twice and press attack. This move is pretty useful across all characters because it can greatly extend your combos, but unfortunately it will also drain a bit of your health. Yeah, I know desperation moves should do that, but this one is not only useful to clear your path from enemies, but as I said, it's perfect to extend your combos, and refraining me from using it is a bit frustrating. Maybe that's a thing because longer combo strings can end up granting you an extra life, as we will see shortly, but it felt like a letdown having to cut short most of my combos to avoid losing health. And trust me, this game is far from generous when it comes to health replenishers. Now let's talk about your special attack, which is pretty interesting and unique. Here, every time you combo your enemies, they will drop these crystals, which will fill this bar under your health. You have 3 tiers here and each one will unleash a different attack. The first attack, which you can use with 5 to 10 gems, will hit enemies on your vicinity and will greatly increase your strength and score. The second attack will hit every enemy on the screen, giving them a lot of damage. And there's the third one, which have a very curious mechanic attached. If you maxed out your bar and don't use your special, instead of crystals, your enemies start to drop coins. And, as the law commands, if you have coins in your game, you have to grant an extra life after collecting 100. But if you decide to use it, besides getting stronger, you will also summon what the game calls Chaos Enemies. These monochromatic ninjas are not here to help you, as I stupidly thought at first, but for you to beat them and collect these red coins, which are worth more than the regular ones. And like the crystals, the longer the combo, the more coins they will drop. But remember, you are not invincible. If you die, the ninjas will vanish and you lose any chance of getting extra bonuses. It's a pretty nice mechanic because it adds some risk-reward elements to the game. If you hold your crystals too much, you may get an extra life, but you also can be in a lot of problems not using them to help you in some dire situations, and believe me, there will be some dire situations. Your enemies, while lacking in variety, will be enough to give you a lot of trouble. They are pretty smart and will take any opportunity they have to strike you, and that's one thing that grabbed my attention here. Not only enemies are smart, but they know exactly their strengths and weaknesses. You will see these kind of fodders approach you just to occupy you while this guy hits you with his kicks from afar. These ninjas are always ready to jump over you and cut you clean if you spend too much time in one place. And these guys with knives love to hit you from behind, especially if you grab one of their friends. The only complaint I have here is this shield guy who can sometimes shoot from off screen, which can be pretty annoying, and this guy who can lock you on a death spiral with his non-stop kicks. The only downside is that the enemies will never use any weapons lying around on the ground, which is a shame because you have a few weapons and throwable objects here, so it would be nice to see them use some against you, but you can use them, including the bikes from these pesky bikers. I hate bikers so much. And there are the bosses, which are not that hard to beat since you can easily infinite them, but if they catch you, be ready for a world of pain or even some one-hit kill. And until you clean the screen from the minions, hitting bosses can be pretty tricky. Now, the combat here is great, the feeling is fantastic, there are some nice stun animations and the hit stops are great. Keeping the enemies in the air as long as you can never gets old. The hitboxes are generally good, but some moves, like when you try to throw your enemies up, could use some adjustments because it feels pretty short and not all that great. On the good side, the enemies have some generous hurt boxes, so you will be able to hit enemies in different heights without any problem. But not everything is perfect here. Despite being a great arcade beat-em up, the lack of content here can be a bit worrisome. There is no extra characters, no training level, no boss rush, no unique ending for the characters. I mean, for most people, just beating the game over and over again, pursuing a high score, isn't exactly fun, and having some other modes or unlockables would greatly improve the game's longevity. There is also no online, and while this is not a problem for PC players since we can use Parsec or something similar, the good folks on consoles are out of luck. The game also has a few bugs, like this boss who magically appears grabbed by you just to hit you and take a full health bar. Also, I don't think the food placement is good. You will find just one bowl of fruits per level, and it's usually for some crazy reason right at the beginning of the level in most stages. I mean, at least in my opinion, they should be closer to the boss. Overall, City Brawl is a great game, the controls are great, the combat feels awesome, the soundtrack is pure fire, and the challenge is there for those willing to take it. The characters feel unique enough, and the clever addition of weapons makes things even better. There are a few things that I think should be tweaked, like the food placement and some adjustments to the hitboxes, but other than that, I really enjoyed my time with this game, and I'm sure this is one I will revisit time and time again when looking for some quick and classic fun. I highly recommend you to try this one with an arcade stick to get the full experience this game provides. It makes a great game even better. For 15 bucks, I say there is no mistake. The game is out today on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox and Nintendo Switch, so grab it now and I promise you you'll have an awesome time with this one. This one gets the Flying Kick seal of approval without any doubt. And that's it for the review, folks. I will be back very soon with more reviews for you, but while you wait, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more beaten up things in your life. In the meantime, I hope you all have an awesome day, and remember, keep beaten up.